Good evening. I'm sorry I'm running a couple of minutes late. I was running late getting home. But anyway, we're going to read Genesis chapter 39 tonight. I hope y'all have had a good day. It's been warmer today than it has been the last few days, and I know that they said Puxatawny Phil saw his, I think they said he saw his shadow, which means 6 more weeks of winter, which it's February. We're expecting some more winter anyway. So, all right, so we're going to read Genesis chapter 39, and it's titled, the entire chapter is titled Joseph and Potiphar's Wife. Now Joseph had been brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, the captain of the guard, an Egyptian, had bought him from the Ishmaelites who had brought him down there. The Lord was with Joseph, and he became a successful man, and he was in the house of his Egyptian master. His master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord caused all that he did to succeed in his hands. So Joseph found favor in his sight and attended him, and he made him overseer of his house and put him in charge of all that he had. From the time that he made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. The blessing of the Lord was on all that he had in house and field. So he left all that he had in Joseph's charge, and because of him he had no concern about anything but the food he ate. Now Joseph was handsome in form and appearance, and after a time his master's wife cast her eyes on Joseph and said, "Lie with me." But he refused and said to his master's wife, "Behold, because of me my master has no concern about anything in the house, and he has put everything that he has in my charge. He is not greater in this house than I am, nor has he kept back anything from me except you, because you are his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?" And as she spoke to Joseph day after day, he would not listen to her, to lie beside her or be with her. But one day, when he went into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the house were there in the house, she caught him by his garment, saying, "Lie with me." But he left his garment in her hand and fled and got out of the house. And as soon as she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and had fled out of the house, she called to the men of her household and said to them, "See, he has brought among us a Hebrew to laugh at us. He came in to me to lie with me, and I cried out with a loud voice." Well, see, Joseph and she were the only ones in the house, so nobody knew whether she cried out or not. "And as soon as he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried out, he left his garment beside me and fled and got out of the house. Then she laid up his garment by her until his master came home. And she told him the same story, saying, 'The Hebrew servant whom you have brought among us came in to me to laugh at me. But as soon as I lifted up my voice and cried, he left his garment beside me and fled out of the house.' As soon as his master heard the words that his wife spoke to him, 'This is the way your servant treated me,' his anger was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined, and he was there in prison." Now Potiphar had the right to put him to death, because I'm sure that was a crime punishable by death. But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him steadfast love and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison put Joseph in charge of all the prisoners who were in the prison. Whatever was done there, he was the one who did it. The keeper of the prison paid no attention to anything that was in Joseph's charge, because the Lord was with him, and whatever he did, the Lord made it succeed. Now, that shows you how God's blessing and favor can be on a person. He was in prison, and the jailer there could see that he was an honorable person, and that he was going to do what he said to do, and so he put him in charge. And I'm sure he had to kind of work up the same way he did in Potiphar's house. I'm sure he had to kind of work his way up. So that tells me that the Lord wants to bless us, but sometimes he blesses us with having to do hard things to get where we need to be. God doesn't always make it easy for us. That would be kind of counterproductive, because we've got to learn to deal with hard things so that we can deal with them again later on. So anyway, that is all of that chapter. I thank y'all for joining me. I know this has been kind of short, but I've got some things I need to take care of, and I will be on tomorrow. I'm supposed to go to a funeral tomorrow afternoon. So chances are I will go ahead and do the live early in the afternoon before I leave the house, which probably going to be leaving about 2 o'clock. So I'll probably be doing the live a little bit before then. And I know that's unusual, but I want to make sure that I do it. But I'll be late getting home, and I don't want to feel like I've got to rush and have trouble on the road. So I'll be doing a live, but it'll be earlier in the afternoon. So thank y'all for joining me tonight, and I will see you tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon.